How good. Morning, everybody. How you all doing? Um, Tired is not the word. So I had to scramble back, get back to Atlanta and Rio, Harry. So stayed up last night to watch the tourney. Duke was playing, of course. We made it through St. John's to the Elite Eight. That game ended kind of late, and I had a 5 a.m. flight this morning. Again, last minute. I wasn't supposed to be back until tomorrow. But life happens, and I needed to get back ASAP Rocky in order to prevent my life from crumbling. So there that is, and there that was. Forgive me if I sound a little different, maybe. I don't know. My ears are still clogged like a mofo. My allergies been killing me. Dog came back. The car, I have a black car. That thing was emerald green, I want to say. The pollen is just stupid. And bouncing between here and Illinois have just been playing with my senses without a doubt. So I'll get it together. Happy to be here. Today's show convinced my sister to come on. So she goes, "What you mean? What you mean? What I mean?" We wanted to. I wanted to talk about family. My brother called me early in the week. I want to say, he said, "Bro, I need you to do me a favor." I said, "What's up, man?" He said, "You need to do a show about family." And I said, "That's cool. I've been thinking on that line anyhow, so it's appropriate." He was like, "For real?" I was like, "Yeah." So he said, "All right, cool." So then I put it together and I was like, "Well, hell, it is Women's History Month." And we did knock on ourselves that we haven't really done much on Women's History. My sister's a bit of women's history, so I wanted to bring her on, talk about what she's done. She's my hero. She's definitely one of my heroes. She uh she retired after 30 years in Marine Corps. She retired as a CWO 5. So she a bad girl. She a real bad girl. And I think sometimes that she what she's done, but I like to talk about it. I like to remember. We started off in this thing on a similar plane. We were both enlisted. She went on, got her degree, then chased her commission. That's why she became a chief warrant officer. And she did her thing, man. She did her thing. Big time. Big time. Did her thing. Very proud of her woman. Very proud of her woman. And we ran into one another when we were just pups and formed our family bond, and we've been family ever since. We shit, man. Been there 40 years into this. It's crazy when I sit back and think about what I hold near and dear to myself. You know what I'm saying? And we mentioned it previous weekend, the weekend when I was in Florida, how tight knit we still are, and there's never been a cross word. There's been an exchange of a whole lot of things, but never a blow, never a word, never a glance that was uncalled for. We've held one another to account. We've supported one another. You know, I don't let the shirt and the shoes fool you. I tell people all the time. You did. Like I was in these streets, man. I was straight up in these streets, dog. That ain't no bullshit. I was in these streets. I was just fortunate enough to be surrounded by people who cared enough about me to make sure I was protected times when I, one time we got into a fight and I didn't know the fight was coming. And it was a guy that was from around the way. So we're at the store. I grew up in the Northeast, so we have corner stores. So we're at the corner store getting something to eat, and the guy's in the store. Myself, two more of my friends, and him. So my two friends like, yo, that's not true. We came out the store, and as we came out the store, it just so happened this was not the setup at all. It really wasn't. It just so happened that one of my boys, the young lady he was talking to at the time, she and her homegirl pulled up. They just popped up out the blue. She said, "Yo, what's up?" Say, "Yo, what's up?" And my man was like, "Yo, go holler at him." I was like, "What's up?" So I walk across the street. I'll never forget this show. She had like one of those was Suzuki's cheap Jeeps or like a tracker or some shit like that. One of them little joints. And I'm leaning in the window. I'm jibber jabbing, wop whopping. And her homegirl was like, "Oh shit!" So I turn the thing. I got to get it. Turn. All I see is my man Jay pick up, yo, and my man come on. We was just in the store together, and they start stomping the store out. Like, yo, what happened? And they stomped the shit out of yo. It's like, yo, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. And we rolled out. I was like, yo, what just happened? And then they ran down everything that happened. I was like, oh well, he had that coming, you know. But they was like, yo, we didn't want you involved because we know what you got going on. So I was like, okay, it's cool. You know what I mean? And it's many instances like that, man. Like it's I've been very fortunate and very blessed, without a doubt. Very fortunate and very blessed. I've had a lot of people take care of me, and I'm very thankful and grateful for that. To include the people that I connect with every Saturday morning here. You know, we take care of one another. We support one another. We're that ear for one another when other people ain't trying to listen. We're that phone call late at night, early in the morning when you get something off your chest. You need some creative juices rolling. We call one another. So, yo, what you think about this? Hey, man, I was just thinking about something. You know what? First person I thought about calling was you. Hey, run this through. Let me know what it sounds like. You know, does that make sense to you? Does it not make sense to you? Are you gonna make me put my hat on? Okay, I got my hat too, bro. Give me a second. I just got off the plane, but I got my hat. I'm gonna grab it. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's one of them things, man. It's just one of those things that I wanted to uplift and honor, without a doubt. Good morning, brother Marlon. How you doing? So, definitely, I wanted to honor that. I wanted to
Mm.
take an opportunity to say thank you. I wanted to take an opportunity to say that's what's up, and I wanted to connect with people. You know, I'm a '70s baby. I was born in the early '70s. I wasn't no late '70s baby running around here in the '90s. I mean, I'm sorry, the '80s. I was a '70s baby for real. And I think my generation, for the most part, we did well. We did okay. We did well, maybe, right? But some of them '80s babies, they went through it. They went through, man. When crack hit the streets, it wasn't beautiful. So, you know, your concept of family is not necessarily your relatives at all. Yeah, and that's okay. You know, some of them motherfuckers need to go. Like it's you don't need you look at them and be like, how the hell are we even related? Were we not at the same table? Were we not in the same home? What do you think? How do you think that happened to you? You know, so I definitely wanted to take a moment to big up on that. And that does not excuse us from acknowledging the lack of the United States of America putting its support behind Ghana's resolution before the UN for reparations and calling slavery the world's greatest atrocity. It's not to excuse us from talking about high gas prices because the shit is high. It's not does not excuse us from talking about the continued war in Iran. It does not excuse us from talking about any other Afro Man, because I know Rashi want to talk about Afro Man. We talking about Afro Man, Rashi. It does not excuse us from talking about the gathering and what may be the future of that in Vegas. It does not excuse any of those things. But I definitely want to lay down the groundwork and the foundation for where we're going at today, because it's going to be a good ride, without a doubt. I think, you know, you may need some tissue later on in the day because that it's some real ones out here. Everybody ain't fucked up. Everybody ain't trying to get you. Everybody ain't trying to use you. We need more of that. We need to talk about that more. Everybody ain't trying to hurt you. Everybody ain't trying to get something from you. Everybody don't want nothing from you. You know, sometimes people just want you. That's it. That's all they want is you. They want a kind word every now and again, an ear every now and again, and they will do the same in return to you and for you. And there's nothing wrong with it. You know, you hear so much doom and gloom, you know. It can make you real. jaded. It can make you real paranoid. It can make you real messed up. I'm trying not to curse so much. It can make you real messed up, you know. And it doesn't all. It's not all like that. Everybody ain't like, you know. Brother Marlon comes on every week, more so than not. He's refreshing voice. He's a supporter. He comes in, drops his notes in the comments. You know, always in the background, dropping some gems and some jewels. Jot that down. Maybe be able to use those things later. There's other folks that come in. Travis comes on, and the general's on. Angie's on. I'm just trying to pull some names real quick, you know, but these are folks that tune in week in and week out and offer nothing but support. They don't want nothing from us but us. All they ask is that we show up, we show out, because we gonna show out. We gonna show out. And, you know, we do what we do, which is give you all our different perspectives on what's going on in the world so that you can get a little bit more than what you may have, what you started the day with. So that's it. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? What's going on, sis? How you doing, Rashi? It's early for you, isn't it? Rashi out there in
I'm
that
trying.
Vegas now.
Not listen, because his mute didn't want to. It's not that. It's my body is time is time, so it's not technically early. I'm not waking up. It's the exact same time I would have been doing something in Kansas City. It's just earlier here
Gotcha.
in my body. Uh, Listen, as soon as that sun think you want to come around, my body, something in the stratosphere, and I was talking to the general about this. It just called my something calls my name between 4:30 in the morning and like 5:45. Something in the ether calls my name, and I have to, I have to be dog shit tired or hungover or whatever, or but if I'm not either of those two things, I pops up, and it don't matter what had happened the night before. And I'm so grateful for that, brother Barry, because some people have to be awakened every day from a bell or a ring or a call or a chime, and whoever this ancestor is, he'd be like, "Man, get your ass up, man." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, here I go, bro." And then I might occasionally go, "Hey, man, shut up," and try to lay back down. But it's a call that literally, like you said, my circadian wake up, and it every cell in my body be like, "Well, what we gonna do now?" And sometimes it sit there most times, and this is the part, I think it's my meditative time. Most times I just sit there. I say, please don't hurt nobody. Don't be out here acting no fool. What had happened yesterday that I didn't finish? What could I put on till tomorrow so I can still have the day? What is today's mission? And do I give a damn? Am I still gonna do it? Because just because you have it don't mean you're gonna do it, right, Barry? And but most of the time other people's wants for me get me up out the bed and get me in motion, and I'm blessed for that, I swear, because if I didn't have 100 little what they call urbanites waiting on me, if I didn't have my mother convalescing in the room next to me, if I didn't have my son just sitting there doing like what we gonna do now, I'd just be I don't think I would be faring very well. I'd probably be out here doing copious amounts of drugs because I'm not vested in the nation and vested in, like, I just be out here acting stupid.
Yeah.
So I am so glad that I chose something to do all day because your girl can get up to some foolery if you don't have something for her to do. You know what I'm saying? But I am having so much fun in Vegas. To use a Rodney term, they're doing a bang up job. No, that ain't the one they say. He say, oh yeah, they hitting on all cylinders here in Las Vegas, making sure that my son and I, are not having to come up with our own reality here. They have taken us to so many different places. And look, we ain't done. We still got more to do today. So I'm having probably the most fun I've ever had in Vegas because I don't play the one arm bandit. if I had to go to the casino, I'd just go and hand the money to the valet and walk away because I have never won a damn thing. And I ain't won a raffle. I have never won a raffle, a hat, 2 packs of candy. I have never won, so I don't never pretend like I'm gonna win something then when I'm pulling on them levers.
Sister Rashi, I got a gambling tip for you. Ready?
Come on, yeah.
So don't do the pool, don't do the slot machines. Go to the crap table. And what you need to do is you go and find somebody who has a lot of chips, who want to keep the dice in their hands. And you bet for or against whatever it is. If you see them constantly hitting, you bet for. If you see them constantly crapping out, you bet against. You'll double
So
up your money real quick that
what do you
way.
call that gambling parasitism? What do we call that? Gambling mimicry?
No, so in the hood we call it side betting. So it's a
Side betting.
side
Okay.
Mm,
side bet in the crap game. But you could do that inside of it's legal inside of the casinos. And most people who be spending time on the crap, I mean on the slot machines or whatever else like that. I don't went to a casino and won every time that way. They don't have crap tables here, so that's why I don't go to the casinos. I don't want to touch the dice. I want somebody else to touch it, and I'm going to bet on your luck or whatever the case may be, and I'll watch. I'll sit and watch 10, 15 minutes to see the groove. Okay, all right, okay, cool. He bad, he down bad today. Oh, he hitting on everything today. Oh, she hitting on everything today. Bet, let me go ahead and bet for or against this person. Hey, good morning, cousin Sharon. And so that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying?
I don't.
That's how you get your bread.
I don't even win on the scratch off tickets here. I can't win nothing. I have never won, and I think that's a blessing because, once again, don't give me no whole bunch of money. You'll find me behind a dumpster somewhere partying with half my clothes on, and so it uh it's one of my gifts. I don't ever win, right? I literally, you could bet against me, bet the opposite of me every time, Barry, and you might strike it gold out here in these streets because I cannot win. Not when in games of chance. I don't. So yeah, but so we ain't even walked. I'm with my 18-year-old son. They not finna let him uh even pull,
He
nothing.
18. He 18.
So so
yeah,
we
I was
can't.
about to say
He 18. He good.
in Vegas, I think 18
No,
is
no,
old enough
sir.
in
No,
Vegas.
so no, sir. It's 21. Even though since you
Really?
put I can't see how they regulated. It's a damn slot machine in the toilet. So,
Because when you cash out, that's when you cash out.
when you cash out, they tell you, take your ass on
That's
somewhere.
when you
Get on
cash
out
out
there.
because they
Yeah,
gotta because they have to do the whole tax thing, the whole
there we
nine,
go.
whatever
There
it
we go.
takes.
So I think we came in. When we came in, we looked and saw. Well, can we get it there and give them the rest of our money or
Oh, it's
not? And they
21.
said
Angela said it's
it's
21. I'm
it's
take.
got to be
Yeah,
21.
Sister
Not
Angela
not not.
said 21. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm so glad. I'm
I'm
so glad we ain't up in
I'm
here going poor, cause I don't want to be another Vegas victim. They have us. Vegas, I have you walking in the streets with one shoe, trying to eat the other one. So, uh, I'm just so glad that
Good
I
morning, sister.
got people here. I got people here. Good morning, Miss Angela. I really wanted to see. That's Angela here, right, Brother
Yep.
Lee?
Yes.
I
Hmm.
really was hoping to see you and your husband again, Miss Angela, and I'm glad to know that you and yours are doing well. Uh, yeah, so I'm having a ball. It was worth every penny, Lee. You right. It ain't cheap, but we doing it right. We
Yeah.
visiting libraries. We going to museums. We not up there doing rock trying to get a hoe in the middle of Caesar's palace.
Hey,
That's not that wasn't.
thinking about moving out that way. If everything goes my way, I'm
I
really
don't
thinking
think you're gonna
about.
be ready, brother Barry. That's literally what the dude said. Going from the freezer to the skillet, baby. You going
Uh,
from the
man,
freezer to the
Rashi,
skillet.
I sit in the house regardless. I'm a homebody. I just like sunsets, and the more sunsets I can get, I'm cool with that. I'm
I
not
feel
a
that.
I'm not really an outside person. I did all that when I was younger, so I ain't impressed with nothing. No
Well,
I feel
parties,
that.
no
and,
nothing.
and and don't worry, cause in Vegas you need to be in the damn house by what, Lee? Not by 9
Hey,
a.m. By
hey, Angela
9
said,
a.m.
It ain't
By
that
9
bad.
a.
hey, at
Man,
least
by
Angela said
9
tap her in this
a.m.
morning. Can we get Angela? Can we send Angela
The link to the stream yard.
to the link to the stream yard? She said tap her in
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah, yeah. I got
Yeah.
you.
So
morning.
you it's a city where you get your ass in at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then you come out
Yeah.
at 5 p.m. Now, most people think, no, I went out at 9 a.m. and it's time to come home at 5. No, this is a town I think people shouldn't be able to have to do nothing until about 4, 5 o'clock after that
Mm-hmm.
sun starts setting. Because the other day it tried to kill a sister. And all I did was go and get a drink at the local liquor store. And I ain't even drink it yet. But the walk tried to kill you. The walk tried to kill you. But
The heat.
it is beautiful, Thomas. I mean, it's a little monochromatic. I mean, it's that beige and that off orange and the bright
Oh,
beige and the
that's
dark
gone off.
brown.
I'm not going front. Looking at faded because the sun beats that up, and you be like, yo, that looks like pure D trash. Like that's my only hold up being a kid from the Midwest. Not enough grass,
Not enough green.
trees, and I don't like shit looking dirty. I just don't like shit looking dirty. But since everybody's kind of operating at
But
night,
it don't rust. Nothing rusts
nothing
because
rust.
there's no humidity.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what it is. The desert color. That's what I meant to say. Not dirty, but it do look dirty from the Midwest point of view. And so
And
for
it's a little
me,
dusty. The dust, as I was
yeah.
I ain't
informed,
called where them folk
the
live looking
dust
dirty.
is in
Hey
the
man,
air.
Thomas.
hey, listen. I'm from the place of Charlie Brown. It looks like pig pen. Like everywhere you go, like it's a cloud of dust, Rashi. But I love it though. I love it. When we were there, it was just so hot that I was kind of like feeling sick, y'all.
There she is.
Hey y'all, good morning.
Good morning.
Yep. Sister, it was so nice to meet you yesterday. I did not realize you were visiting. They told me you were here, but they didn't say you were visiting us. So welcome to
Thank
Vegas.
you.
I hope you and your son are having a great time. It sounds like you guys are. I am up cooking this morning, which don't happen every morning, but I am up cooking this morning. I'm an
Yeah, I
afternoon
see
cook.
you with that damn cleaver. What you doing with that cleaver?
I'm chopping up some vegetables. I'm making a black eyed pea, collard green salad for my husband and myself. Every year for New Year's, us black folks, we believe in them greens and black eyed peas to start the year off right. This year, I made a covenant with myself that I was going to incorporate more vegetables. My plan was to become vegetarian for the year,
Okay.
but God said, sister,
Meat,
you
because
must
meat,
crawl before you can walk.
that
So
meat be
what
meating,
I
baby.
the meat be meating. And so what I have done is allowed my plate to be taken over more by vegetables, fruits, more nourishing things than and get my protein, several ways than, just relying on meat.
So I have a question. Was that
Yes.
Gord or was that Ruth Chris?
Was that what?
Gord or Ruth Chris? She told
Well, there's a place
God had it.
here.
Was that God or was
There
that Ruth? Ruth Chris sent her a coupon, and she was
we
like, "Shit, I ain't
we
messing
right
up no
we
shit."
have we have a place here called the Golden Steer that is now, after like almost 100 years of existing here in Vegas, is now opening up a branch in New York City. This is their first expansion outside of Vegas. I promise you, brother, when you come, we all must go. Let me know, because you got to make a reservation. It is the best steak you'll ever, ever, ever have in your life. But prepare to spend. It ain't cheap.
I ain't got no problem with that. I can live. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for
It's
So,
no
it's the
expensive
best
Vegas.
steakhouse.
I
It
don't
is
want to pay
truly. My husband is a steak connoisseur. We have been to just about all of them, old and new. That's the best steak experience we've had. Period. Anywhere we go, we've been a lot of places. He's bought a lot of steaks. That was
I
the
just
best
learned
steak.
about the $1.99 steak the other $1.99 for the.
$1.99 steak.
Hey,
Is it
I
Ashley
ain't
price
said
mad.
tag?
I'm not mad at it. I'm not
General
mad at the
said you could
dollar
get
ninety
a.
nine steak, because
Wait, what did you?
the golden steer was not $1.99, my sister.
But she
No,
said the
Yeah,
potato and all. That's how
What's
they
yeah,
the
do
but
in
it was.
Vegas. They give you a cheap steak, but then you got to go play them game slots.
Oh yeah. Yep. So I'm up. I started this salad last night. Believe it or not, I massaged and marinated the greens and seasoned the and marinated the black eyed peas. Put them in the bag overnight so that they could be more tasty and flavorful. So I'm up this morning trying to finish this marathon of a salad.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But
Um,
yesterday I did get to pop out for a moment to the gathering towards the tail end. But I did get there because I felt it was imperative that I personally told Terry and his wonderful wife, thank you. Thank you for holding down the gathering with your business. Thank you for befriending us and making us a part of your regimen of success. I wanted to personally say that to them. His wife has been sick recently. She looked so good last night. She was healthy. You could tell. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. When you in a grind, man, it's a grind. But I could tell Terry's heart was heavy because he has so many more dreams and plans for that business. But sometimes you in it for some time and not a long time. But the
true that.
important thing in entrepreneurship is to continue.
True that.
It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And just
True
because
that.
you know that what they say, you make plans, God laughs. So, keep that first and foremost because all the time your plans and your dreams can manifest into plans, and your plans can work out to look different for you than you envisioned.
Mm-hmm.
And just know that the important thing was that you did it, and you did it with the best of intentions and all of your heart. And I can say that Terry and his beautiful wife did that. They did it with the best of intentions and with a real heart for it. So I'm looking forward to hearing what the next chapter in their journey is going to be. But for me, last night, I'm still recuperating. I had shoulder surgery, and yesterday I had a knee procedure. And I was still kind of groggy from the medication, but I really wanted to go thank them for the sacrifice that they made for us and the gathering, and how much I wanted them to know from me personally how much that uplifted me as an entrepreneur, as a human being, as a person that cares deeply for the gathering, as a person that really admires our friend Rodney for hanging in there every week. It is not easy. Um, but I just wanted him and his wife to know that they are an important chapter in the Gatherings book.
And the chicken was good.
And the chicken was good. And I did thank the staff because my mom was a professional chef in her second career. She moved from education to her true passion, which was cooking. And so I always have a heart for the folks that make our meals. So I did make sure that I thank the staff. Some are new, some haven't been there as long as we've been there, but it was important to me to thank them. I went over to the bartenders and thanked them and wished them well on the next leg of their journey. And I hope to see them again through the community. And I'm sure I will. And, it's just, you hate to, what I saw in Terry's eyes yesterday. I know that when your thing isn't going quite how you wanted it to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really felt for Terry, but I also saw the joy and elation in his wife's face. And I felt for her as well, that she found her peace in, wrapping this part of the journey up. But my heart went out to Terry last night because I could see that it was heavy, and he was appreciative of every person that came out to say something to them last night. I was in pain. I was I was not good last night, but some things are important.
Got you.
It's important. It's
And
important to let
you know,
people know that you care and they meant something to you.
that's a perfect
That's a
segue
perfect segue
into our next.
into
Someone
our
has an
someone
echo
has an
going
echo
on.
going on.
I think someone
I
has
think
this on
someone has
speaker.
this on speaker.
Miss Angie, you
Um,
have to mute.
Oh, okay, got it.
it's okay. That's a perfect segue into what we were talking about today. Because today is all about family, and I just came back from Orlando with my military family. And as I said in the beginning of the show, we've been down like four flat tires for over 30 years, almost 40, honestly. And yeah, I called my sister yesterday and said, you know what? I need a favor. She said, "What?" I said, I want you on the show tomorrow. She's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." And I said, yeah, but it's time for your ass to talk about yourself. So she says, bro, for you, I got you. So here she is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of my heroes, retired Chief Warrant Officer 5, Latia Nation. What's up, sis?
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
Pretty
How
good.
are
Pretty
you?
good.
I'm good. I'm good.
Now,
Thank you.
Good to
now,
see
some
you.
people don't understand what that means, but what I like to say is for over 20 years, 30 actually, she donned the uniform of United States Marine, Europe, Asia, the Middle East, America, putting in front of herself and her family duty and country to make all of our lives a little bit more safe. And as I introduced you earlier, you weren't here. I was saying how we started off on this journey as pups. We have a story that we share with people that's quite funny and it's real. So we met when we were both in the UK, and the Marine Corps just had this new weapon system introduced, this the M249 SAW. And she says, well, I guess that's what you said, because she calls me. She says, bro, she said, "Hey, we need a place to fire this off. Can we get that and shoot?" I turned around and said, yep. There was no conversation. All I said was, yep. And I gave her the days, and she was like, all right, cool. Click, set. That was the
Mhm.
entire conversation. Now, again, we babies. We are literally baby. We had no authority to make these decisions, but we made it, and it worked. So my
And
boss
we had
goes,
fun.
right. My boss goes, "What was that about?" I said, "Oh, she a Marine. They said they need to come down to use the range." Okay, when they coming? Oh, they coming on these 2 days. It's like, okay, well, what are they bringing? I said, well, they bringing the M249. They don't have a place to shoot up in London. He says, for real?
Mhm.
I said, yeah. Well, none of us in the Air Force had gotten trained on the M249. So everybody gets together because now we're excited. We're like,
Mhm.
oh, what do you mean? This is new. Like none of us have trained on it. Will they train us? Da 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 da. So I'm like, sure. So then someone gets the idea, well, hey, it's them. Will they run us through the Navy pistol and rifle course so we can qualify as that? Because you get a different ribbon on your thing. Then. So I go, all right. So I call back. I said, she said, what's up? I said, hey, can y'all run us through the pistol and rifle course? She said, hold on for a second. Yeah, we can do it. All right, that's what's up. Next thing I know, they coming out with two big ass buses. And I ain't talking about no cheese bus. They coming down with two big old luxury buses, you know what I'm saying? And these jokers is pulling in. I know the gay guards like, what in the hell is going? Because I gave them no warning whatsoever. They just showed up. So they come out, we do our whole thing, man. And she and I get together. She gets off. She gets off the bus. I run over. No military decorum was. We didn't care. It was she and I. So we doing our thing and stuff, and she introduced me to everybody, and they looking at her, and they look at me like, y'all made this. It's like, so it's it's been beautiful, man. It's been beautiful. Like, she's from Philly, so running back and forth to Philly whenever she was in town to see her. She married my brother-in-law, which was the greatest decision he could have made. And but even before then, she calls me and says, "Hey, I think I want to get married." She said, "But I need you to come down here and check him out first." So I said, "Okay." So I flew down. We
Mhm.
spent some time together. And we before I left, she was like, "So what you think?" I said, "Yeah, that's a good one." She said, "All right, cool." A couple months later, they got married, and we've been pretty much joined at the hip, man. In some form or fashion, I cannot go to Virginia without stopping at the house. That is not allowed.
Absolutely not.
Nice, nice.
There are times when I get a phone call or a text like, bro, you
Where
need to
you
come
at?
see your sister. I'm tired of hearing about she ain't seen you, so you just need to pop up. So
Mhm.
all of a sudden,
Where you
I pick
at?
a
It's time to show up.
Yes. And he travels all over the place. So
Everywhere.
he's always somewhere.
That's
shut your
not
mouth.
here, right?
Mind
Yes,
your business. Just
So
mind your
since you
business.
traveling anyway, it's time to drop by, sir. I'm putting my invite in now. I feel you.
I,
absolutely.
I got you. I got you. But yeah, man. So this is Women's History Month. You are a unicorn in more ways than one. You are
Nice.
not a female Marine. You are 100% Marine. I am so proud of you that it bubbles all the time. And I just wanted to take a moment to let you tell your story. So, I know the story, but what made you join the Marines?
Um, so my stepfather was in the Army Reserves. I believe he was a National Guard. And it was I was in my 12th grade year, and my mom was like, "All right, you need to figure out what you need to do."
You got to do.
Yes, you're welcome to stay here, but if you stay here and you work, you're gonna pay rent. So, you have to kind of figure it out. So, military really wasn't on the forefront, but since he was in it, I was like, I'll go talk, to all the services. So,
Mhm.
Marine Corps was actually the furthest. I went to the Air Force first, and the recruiter was like, can you come back and see me? I don't have time. I'm on my way to lunch. So I was like, oh,
You know
okay.
how we do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the army, I was like, ugh, a lot of black people in the
Okay.
army. But, I was like, yeah. And the Navy, I was like, I really don't want to go on ship. And the Marine Corps had the best uniforms. So I was like, I'll give it a
Always
try.
comes down to fashion, right?
Yes, yes. And it was a perfect fit. I mean,
Very nice.
first duty station, went to California. And I
Okay.
had been there. Yep, been there for about a year and a half. I was with artillery again, the guns,
Best place to
and
be.
38 hot.
yes, 38 hot. And my second tour was actually in England, where I met Lee. And young, partying, 21, always at the club, and that's where I met Lee in the club. And by him being from Baltimore, it was just like a warm friendship. He took me in. Anytime I was up there, he was like, "Yo, sis, you don't have to do a turn and burn. Anytime you come up here, you stay for the weekend, hang out, relax."
That's
And I
beautiful.
took him up. And just brother and sister ever since then. And he surprises me each and every time. Left England, went down to Texas, and he just pops up, just calls me. Yo, sis, what you doing? Nothing. He was like, oh, okay, I'm here. What?
What?
What you, what you mean you here?
Didn't
I'm
sound like
here.
that.
I
I'm
love
a
friends like that. I love friends like
yes,
that.
yes.
This
And
will do that mandatory just pop up on you. I love
pop,
that.
pop up, get eyes on, and he found me.
Yes, that's a real
I
friend.
left England. He made some phone calls and was like, "Hey, I gotta find somebody." And we've been close. I mean, close
Rodney,
ever
stop.
since.
Rodney, just stop. You know how I do. You know how I
Yes.
do.
So, along my travels, Arizona, um, Iraq, Japan. I deployed to Iraq from Japan with a 6-month-old and a 5-year-old. So my husband, had to develop family over there while I deployed.
Yeah.
And, Lee kept tabs on him. I think they really developed their
The
relationship.
bomb. Mm-hmm.
Yes, while I was deployed, called, check on him, see how he's doing with the
Comb some
kids.
hair, take somebody to the barber shop. I don't know what you have,
Yes.
girls or boys, but
Yeah.
they all
Well,
require hair.
yes. So I had to lock that down before I left for my daughter. I had to get her a little hairdresser. Hey, can you do her hair every 2 weeks for me?
Yep. Yep. My
Um,
husband, I'll never forget. I had a serious surgery, major surgery, and my husband had to do hair with no jump in.
wow.
And it was a nice mess, I'll say that.
Yeah.
It
And
was
look,
it
my
was
husband will
something,
tell
but
you
he
real
brushed
quick.
up on it after that. And anytime there was an emergency, he kicked in.
Yeah. My husband will tell you real quick because, when we're together, they oftentimes don't realize that I'm the veteran. So they arbitrarily look at him and he'll quickly say, oh, no, the Marine Corps needed a few good men. They ain't need all the good men. So,
Just so you
yes,
know.
yes. But it's been a beautiful relationship, along the way. Anytime in the service, right? You meet people and those people become your family.
Yeah.
So I want to say that's what really propelled me and inspired me, and it helped me to be able to do what I did for as long as I did. Because honestly, it was by mistake. I didn't enlist in my first 4 years saying, "Hey, this is going to be a career."
A life
It was
choice.
more like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'll see, how it goes." That first enlistment went by. I had bills, and I was like, if I get out, how am I pay the
How to
bills?
pay this? How to pay this?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
It's funny. I'm sorry. No, please go. I'm sorry.
no, so that was really just it. And along the way, they dangle that carrot, promotions, duty station preferences. And before you know it, all that time has gone by. So
And more women need to know that that's an option. That that your stay in the military is very well incentivized, and you grow so greatly from developing a profession in the military.
absolutely. And you have people in place to look out for you. My career wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that, I was, stellar, but I had people who had my back. I had people there, to push me and
Mm-hmm.
see the qualities that I didn't see in myself,
Yeah.
to want to push me to do better. So, I'm just thankful and grateful, really.
And perfection is the enemy of success, right?
Yes.
So it's good to have those imperfections because it makes you appreciate things a lot more. It makes you appreciate your successes a lot more, I think. We learn more from our
Absolutely.
failures and our shortcomings a lot of times than we do from the things that are strong suit and that we do well.
Yes. Yes. Because you're right. That's the only way we do learn. You have to have failure in
You have to
order
have
to know
failure.
what success is.
Oh yeah.
I,
Yeah.
Really know.
before I let you,
Recognize that, brother Barry. Recognize that last sentence he said.
before I
Oh,
let you get
I
asked a
lose,
whole
I
bunch
lose
of
in chess
questions,
all the
I,
time. I know about failure.
I want to throw two more. I want to throw two more things in there before I let you get asked all the questions and stuff. So there was a situation once upon a time. We were out very, very late because of the situation, and I'm in the passenger seat. She's driving, and then England is famous for roundabouts. So we're hitting this roundabout, and she rolling. Now in
Yeah.
England, everything
As we
is
do.
left.
As we do.
Nuh-uh. Everything is left in England. She goes right. So we going around this roundabout the wrong way, and she yelling, it's like 3 in the morning. It's, I'm like, would you stop? She's like, yo, I'm sleepy. I get silly when I get sleepy. Now I'm just like her ass. I'm just the sleepier I get, the sillier I get,
Brilliant.
and I blame her every damn time.
Hey,
Story
great
number
friends
two.
teach you great coping skills.
Man, story number two. I purposely missed my flight on rotation back to the States. Purposely. I missed the flight. They tell me I can't get because I didn't have my ticket. I left my ticket on purpose. I know exactly where I left my ticket at. I left my ticket on the coffee table in my room as a memento that I was still there.
Oh
So
wow.
I go to London, check in the hotel. I get them because you got some real good cheese and you stayed at the hotel overnight in London before you left.
Nice.
I get the
Good
cheese and
note.
everything. I wake up the next day. I go get in line for the airplane. I get up to the counter. Dude asked me for this, that, and the third. I'm giving this, that, and the third. He said, "Where's your ticket?" I was like, "I needed a ticket." He goes, yeah, you can't go no plane with that ticket." I said, "Oh, thank you." And I walked away. I ain't even talk to him no more because I knew what I was doing. I get to the phone. I call her. I said, "Yo, I'm coming over." She's like, "Okay." I thought you was leaving today. Nah, I ain't leaving. I'm about to come to
I'm
your
leaving
house.
today. I'm leaving
So I
on
get to
a
her
day,
house.
but it won't be
Next phone,
today.
right. Next phone call, I make it to my boys. I'm like, "Yo, just it's on the plane." No, I'm going to Tia house. Y'all can pick me up from Tia house. So they pick me up from Tia house. They laughing. Just you stupid. Hey, there was a party. There's a party every year in London. It used to be called the Zimbabwe Zambian party on the boat. Now it's just the Caribbean party on the boat. And it's right, well, now it's right around my birthday. It was like in April, March, April, May, some crap like that back in the day. And this was the first
So
one. And
now
I was
they
like, I'm not missing
conveniently
this party.
changed it to your birthday to celebrate
Oh,
again.
absolutely, 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 absolutely. So I was like, I'm not missing this Joker. And let me tell you something, there was a time to be had. Yeah, you heard me.
Hey.
Time to be had. But again, let's get back to what we're talking about here. You know, as you said, we've been family ever since, and that's a two-way street. You know, I couldn't do it without you participating. I couldn't do it without Polo participating. I couldn't do it without the kids uh, loving on me like I love on them, and I'm very
Mhm.
appreciative of that for real, because we all didn't grow up in families that we all didn't grow up with relatives that are actually family.
Mhm.
That's a
So
fact.
Mhm.
to go out here, make our own, and to have it last as long as it has, and always being welcoming is very, very important to me. You know,
Mhm.
um, I I lost quite a couple of uncles in my later years, and they were older than me. Not all of them. They weren't like old, but they were older than me. Uh, so I didn't have a connection. I didn't have as tight of a connection with two of them. As
Hmm.
the youngest one, I had a real connection with him because he and I were only 9 years apart. I think, yeah, 9 years apart. But the oldest one, he was 14 years older than me, so we really didn't have a connection. And to go through that, but know that there's still folks out here that I could call on, that would call upon me, that would support me, I could support, has been very instrumental in me becoming who I am now, without a doubt. And
Chosen family
again,
is sometimes the best family. I love that. You guys have
yeah,
that.
but again, it has been uh, a wonderful ride for real, because it could have gone the other way, and God only knows what would have happened. But I am very fortunate and very blessed to have you, your husband, your children in my life. And I, again, just wanted to say thank you.
Oh,
Any questions,
thank
Thomas?
you.
So nice.
Yeah, I got some questions. So, knowing that this traveling guy is a rolling jokester, what are some of
Uh,
the funniest moments about him
Oh, good.
overseas?
Oh, that's a good
ooh.
question. That's a good question.
Okay.
Question.
Lee is unpredictable. He is. He's always unpredictable. So it never surprises me, for the pop-ups. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my house is his house. So whether he's, pit stop, hey sis, I got a friend, I'm visiting in Northern Virginia, I'm on my way down to Charlotte. Can I pop through for the night? Absolutely. No matter what we have going on. Um, but I think one of our funniest moments, was in England. We were at a party,
Oh wow.
and
Naturally.
I don't even know about this one.
Naturally.
we were at a party, and it was a Navy gentleman that got kind of ignorant, and Lee seen me upset. Like I hit the guy in the throat. He called me a B,
Yes. In the
and
throat. My
I
kind
hit
of
him in the
girl.
throat. And Lee was very observant. Like he seen it coming. So when it happened, I think it took him by surprise. But he was by my side sooner. I didn't even realize he was there. And it was
We
just
this
like
guy
that
up
happened. And
together.
then he
I
was
love
there
that.
and he was like, that's it. And when you got people that stand in your corner like that and, just looking out for you, because he wasn't tied to me at the party. He was letting me do my thing. He was doing his thing, but he was keeping his eye out on me, to make sure that I was good. So
Yes.
I think that is one of our funniest moments. We always share that. I'm very, very
Yeah.
surprised that he didn't say
You
that,
can
but
I
share that
said there
story
was a
first.
situation. I left it at that. I didn't go into the detail. Y'all,
yeah.
There it
you
is.
talking
Yeah, but
about
I think
crazy?
that's one of our funniest moments, and that
Yeah,
that tied him to
never.
me like forever. Like when somebody has your back like that, that's a true friend. You know what I'm saying? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I would
Well,
say that's
I
it.
find that women that make that are history makers understand that the secret sweet spot of hitting them in the throat. I love that.
Made you keep going. I think that's always been my biggest question. Because you could have dropped
Um,
at 20 and be like, yeah, I'm done. But what made you keep going?
uh, my family, I really believe, because when I deployed, I was right at 19 years, so I couldn't say I'm not going because I hadn't reached 20, and I had given so much that I didn't want to end right there. I was so close to retirement. So I think, that, just, oh, they're gonna send me in. I got 19 years in. But everything is hindsight 2020.
Mhm.
In my mind, I didn't realize I was the one that had to go at that particular time. But I really believe in my heart that me deploying was really allowed me to get those last two ranks. Because uh, I hadn't deployed. All I had was, I don't even think I had like many exercises up to that 19 years. Um, yeah, up to that 19 years. So really deploying to Iraq was really like raw. I didn't have any workups or anything like that. So it was
Can you
like, yo.
explain those things to the layman's like myself? Workups and another term you just mentioned. I'm not
So
quite sure what those are.
right. So a lot of infantrymen, those O3s, they do what you call exercises. So they'll go what they call going to the field for like, 3 weeks, a month to play war games in order to know how to react in deployed environments. So by me being an administrator, I was really always in the office. The only time I went to the field was when I went to boot camp or when I went to my schools, to for professional development. So
Okay.
I wasn't necessarily going and firing a weapon all the time. I mean, I would qualify every year, but
Hmm.
as far as being in a deployed field-like environment, nothing other than boot camp. So, before I deployed, I did what they call preparatory training. That was, about 2 weeks. But really, when I deployed to Iraq, it was like, like this is it. No war games. This is, you're going to do the thing for real.
Yeah.
That
Um,
was real world.
Yeah, it was real world. So I think, after that, it was just, I don't know. Duty stations, you do your duty station through 3 years, and before you know it, it's time to go. And I would say that last 10 years is probably, a blur. It just went
Right.
by so fast. But it was actually, people looking out for me. I had my mentors. Napoleon was a big proponent, pushing me to keep going because I always told him, I said, I'm not doing 30 years. I said, that's just too long. I see women that get out, I see what they look like after 30 years, and they just look tired. I said, I just never want to be that. I never want to look like that.
And
And
you don't.
I did it.
And you don't.
Now, hold
But
on.
like,
Listen to what happened though. So we talking because I'm checking on her. I'm still cool. I'm like,
yeah,
yo, you good? She like, yeah, I'm good. I said, okay. So the closer it gets, I'm like, yo, you good? She like, bro, they got one more fucking PT test to get my ass, and I'm done.
I'm so out of here.
yeah,
One more? That's it. I can't do it no more. I'm done. I'm
I'm
done.
done.
I feel you. She was like, yo, the older I get, the harder
The
it
harder
Harder.
gets.
that gets.
That
Yeah.
daggone
Yeah.
thing. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, it's not the test, it's the motivation. Like, I don't have the motivation
Hmm.
to
I mean, oftentimes it's the mental, right? It's the
Yes.
Mhm.
mental that
But
get
I
the
mean,
fall.
it's like you're 40 something years old. You had to do like fireman's carry, picking people up, putting them on your back. I was like, I'm over it. Running
I
three
did this
miles.
already.
Yeah, it started to get hard on the body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he'd be like, sis, we had year 25. Like, yo, like when you coming down, I'd be like, Lee, I can't, I'm about the PCS. You know what I'm saying? I gotta give him another 2 years, another 3 years. And
Well,
then,
I have a question.
mhm.
In your 30 years of service, what were some of the interesting, good or bad, um, historic moments that you got to participate in or witness while in service?
Oh, so I would say at my third duty station after I left Texas and went to California, it was a black female who was running our administration center. And she short, she was a CW05, and she was just starting to grow dreadlocks.
Mm-hmm.
And they were baby dreads, like real little.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, that was against regulation.
Wow.
So I was looking at her like, wow, she's a black female. She's going dreadlocks, like, she's somebody to pay attention to. And
Mm-hmm.
I did. She was the first black female to run an administration center. Very well known throughout our MOS because she was an O1. So she was a figurehead of mine. When I got to Fort Lee, which is in Virginia, um, I had put in for warrant officer one time already and didn't get it. And I was really upset because I had a really good job. I was working on the general staff, doing really well, staff sergeant, didn't get selected for warrant officer. So I was like, at that point, I didn't want to put in for it anymore because I felt like that was my best self. So I skipped the year, transferred to Virginia, and my boss, he was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about putting in for warrant officer?" And I was like, "Yep, been there, done that. Didn't get selected. Not looking to put in for it anymore."
Yeah.
And he was like, "No." He said, "I think you need to put in for it again." So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Well," I said, "if I do," I said, because in my first package, I probably had about 4 or 5 letters of recommendation, which you really needed. That made your package really strong. So I said, you know what? If I put in again, I said, if you could do a letter of recommendation for me, I said I would appreciate it. And our lieutenant colonel at the time, so I only had 2 letters of recommendation, and he is the one who pushed me to
Push
put
you
in
through.
for it again, and I got selected for it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes, on the second time. So I would say those two really stand out for me
Well, it
in
sounds
my
beautiful.
career.
Sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank goodness for those
Any
that.
questions, Rodney?
Uh, Actually, I do. Being a Marine and having such a close association with um, Air Force, how did your fellow Marines feel about that relationship with that airman?
They love Lee. Because when I had to coordinate when we went to shoot the weapons, um, it was an '03 that I had to coordinate with. So that wasn't even in my specialty. So once I introduced him to Lee, they took off too. They kept in contact too. Because they had that relationship of weapons. I didn't have that relationship. The only relationship I had was he was like my brother. You know what I'm saying? And we had the friendship. So Lee is just that person. And I'm pretty sure you all know when you meet him, you don't meet a stranger. So anybody I have introduced him to that's in my circle, they have felt that same way.
Hey,
You
not only don't you meet a stranger when you meet Lee, but when you with Lee, you're gonna meet a bunch of strangers because he's gonna talk. He's gonna talk to everybody on the
Brother,
way to
they
wherever
know
you
how to
go.
ask you nothing.
yes, yes.
You got a bad
But
mind.
but I love the Air Force. When I deployed to Iraq, I was in a joint environment and I had Air Force counterparts, and we still keep in contact. And, truly, I would say out of all the services, I think the Air Force is really the best service. I mean, they cater to
Boo!
family, it's family first, and then mission. But the way they operate, it's just it's no stress. Where Marine Corps is like, oh, we gonna stress because we gonna worry about it. Air Force is like, yo, like, we got this. What you say the mission is, we got this. Don't worry about it. Give me the due date, and everything else will fall into place. So I mean, it's a great give and take, I would say.
So I have another one. Being that you were in so long, you came in when you did, as a Marine that is a female and
Hmm.
specifically a black female. Did you have any positions where you were the first in it, and how did people respond to it, but also how did it impact you?
So mm, I don't think I had any first. I wasn't recognized for any first. I'll say that. Um, but when I came off active duty, I was the last black female. So when you think about the term unicorn, like, you're not used to seeing a CW05, more or less a black one, even more so a female. When I came off active duty, you weren't going to see any more of me for a long time, at least for about 4 or 5 years. Um, but so no, I don't think I can claim any first. Um, I will say in some of my environments, going to meetings, I felt like I was a first because there was a lot of meetings I was in amongst officers where I was maybe the only black and also the only female. So I had to make sure that my voice was heard. Just because I'm in the room, that doesn't mean that I'm invisible. So I felt like I had to make sure that, my voice was heard, that I had, valid input in whatever it is that was, you know, being distributed. So it was tough, I would say. I mean, because Marine Corps is a men's club. So, I mean,
The
it was
mi-
a fight in
the
some
military, the
instances, but
military in general, right? This
yes.
nation, the military, and that's how it's been coded to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's coded, like your husband said, let's get a few good, as many good men as we can, but they.
Right.
Now, are you aware of some of the new regulations they're putting on women and, new? I call them new women. That's what I call transgender people, the new ladies,
Mm-hmm.
and they're that hair regulation
New
stuff is
women,
back. They
they
got a
making
whole
new women.
lot of new stuff in order to dissuade. I'm sorry, what?
They making new women?
Uh, they doing a lot of new stuff to dissuade women from going in. Do you agree with that, or do you feel that there's some new rules and laws and regulations that they're reincorporating, or like just coming up, pulling out of their ass so that women that so that you get back in the house, Miss Miss Nation, so you
Yeah.
go back home to your family and get back and put your apron on like Miss Angela and get back to the work with what was considered women's work.
Yeah, I do with this administration. They're I'll call it rolling it back to, I guess, I don't know, before I even came in the 90s. Where they don't want women in combat, which that was a huge fight. I mean, when I was in, I wasn't necessarily fighting to go to combat, but if that was your thing and you wanted to do it and pursue it, so be it. It shouldn't be a roadblock. But I think they are rolling back. I don't think they do want to see women in positions of authority. And we seen that right when that first week, when they fired a lot
Yeah,
of, they fired the, um, the female that was over the Coast Guard.
yeah.
She
Yep.
went,
Navy,
A lot of commanders.
yeah,
The Navy, yeah. The rear admiral,
yes,
yeah.
chief
Just
of
this
staff.
week, Hasek didn't name some women to 1-star generals. Just this week.
mm-hmm, yes. So, I definitely
So
do.
do you know if
So
there's a
hopefully
fight
they'll
though?
continue to fight.
That's what I'm actually asking. Is there a coalition of like-minded military women who are either um, creating a claim and case for discriminatory promotion practices within, or creating even a sidebar association of conscious military women talking about leave us alone. I mean, or it seems
It's
weird
not how this
for
works.
women to have that intrinsic power. I just think
Right.
military
So
women
they
are
do.
powerful.
They do. They have an organization called Dakowitz, and I think it's defense. It's like defense women against where they look specifically at what women are doing and where they're going, and any discrimination against them. And the Secretary of, I'm gonna call him Defense because that's what it was when I was in. He tried to
That's
do
what it
What it,
still
away.
is.
what it still is.
Yeah, that's what still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to do away with that organization, and Congress said no, we're going to keep that. So they do still have that organization. They are still fighting for that. It's going to be an uphill battle because with this administration, they ask for forgiveness later. So they're going to make it hard. They're going to make it hard and make you go to court. You know what I'm saying? Spend money. But they do have an organization that's been in place and has been looking at those regulations. And that is the
Yeah.
voice for
Yeah,
for
you
the
gotta fight.
females.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we fight to we've been fighting with this idea as women before we could even enlist, right?
Right.
Rosita Riveter, right? The
Mm-hmm.
women who put their babies in daycare or put their babies with their neighbors and ran to the armory or whatever, whatever you make munitions at,
Right.
and they picked up them welding they arcs or whatever and got to work.
Yes.
So if we can be as women that integral to the creative, to the workings of the military, they can't just keep coming through, patting us on the back, patting us on the butt, on the top of the head, telling us where to sit, when to talk, who you could be with,
Right.
where you could be, how long. It's you, you can't get both. You
But,
can get
but
my love and help, but you can't
Right.
fantasize me in the process. It don't actually work. You empowering me on Monday and then infantilizing me on Wednesday. You got to pick
Exactly.
one.
Exactly.
wouldn't you guys agree? And this is why I think in this administration was a much needed American check, because the idea that you can rationalize with these white supremacists that's in charge is a fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and broad brushing of all men to be akin to these white supremacists is also another fantasy. And so
Mm-hmm.
we should be separating from common sense to the senseless at this point. Talking to someone
Mm-hmm.
who's not going to respond, as you said, they like to do first and then beg forgiveness later,
Mm-hmm.
rationalizing with them. And we need to stop acting as if there's a rationalization. As I said yesterday, this is the first president to turn a $100 bill into a food stamp. Didn't nobody ask for his signature on any damn thing. And so
Right.
people have to stop acting as if this is some type of Hollywood script that's going to play out,
Mm-hmm.
all waiting these
Mm.
people out. And I'll say this one more time. The idea in this country, two times we were talking about who was a better candidate when it was two women versus this guy. Think about the rationalization overall of the country when you can say there was somebody else that you felt like was a least better candidate based off of what? And we
Mm-hmm.
have to really understand that piece. This is what got us in this situation because sometimes Americans, we're so smart, we're stupid. So you know this, being in the midst of these men when you're out there in battle, there's some men that's not unfit, they're unfit physically and mentally to be in the
Mm-hmm.
war. It's not just a woman thing, but you can't
Mm-hmm.
say to these white supremacists because look, Donald Trump dodged, he dodged the war.
Yeah.
He people, they raised it up to 42 years old.
Bones first.
And so my question to
That's a
you,
serious condition.
right
It's
on,
a
and
serious, serious condition. I need you to understand.
my question to you is if they're raising the draft rate age to 42, and then you saying that, hey, I was in the military for so much of a time before I actually got into the field of, and having to fight. What do you think about that, raising that age and putting older people out there in that aspect? Do you think that'll be helpful for the country or will it be hurtful?
I think um, they would have to be in shape. They'd have to be ready mentally. They'd have to be ready spiritually. Um, because a lot of it, some of it is mind over matter. So yeah, we think, okay, the average 42-year-old probably wouldn't be the one that's going to be enlisting. But if you have a 42-year-old who maybe was a veteran and served at one time and is still physically able to run, hang in there, with the young people. Because if you go, to boot camp, if you go to boot camp at 42 and you've never served, that's going to be mentally challenging anyway, because you're amongst 18 to 22-year-olds. So you have to be ready mentally. Um, but they may lower the standard a little bit. They wouldn't be able to lower it substantially because your average 42-year-old who's never served at all, not even been in an ROTC, wouldn't be the one going to the recruiters. Even if they draft them, they probably wouldn't pass the medical portion.
Mm,
There's a lot of people at 42 who already been diagnosed with high cholesterol, got diabetes. So it's going to be far and few in between. So they think they're doing something, but I don't think they're going to get the the audience that they think they're going to get by raising the age to 42.
mm,
Nah.
One of the issues I have with raising the age is we know they get us young for a reason. They get us young because we're eager. We have different motivations to get away from whatever we're facing. We
Mm-hmm.
also don't have the advent, most of us don't have the advent of having a family and finding our way. So the older you get, more than likely you found your way, whatever that is. And it's hard for you to listen to people tell you to do something that you're looking at like, first off, that don't make no sense. And secondly, I ain't dying for y'all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you young, you don't think like that. You're like, that's what they told me to do. I'm gonna do it. The older you get, you start thinking about your kids, your wife, your husband, and them, whatever. They like, yeah, this might not be for me, Chief.
Right.
So that too is a problem. But I said on the show months ago, I was like, I think that I already thought this was going to happen because you're gonna jobs is continuously being lost, and with the next phase, I believe, is they're going to try to expand how many recruits they want and or need because the federal government is going to be the hiring place again. To be honest with you, I think
Mhm.
they're screwing a lot of people out in order to put them in roles with DHS, with ICE, with 'cause they still trying to get rid of TSA. And
Mhm.
who are they going to replace TSA with? That ICE agents. Now, it may not be the ICE agents that we're familiar with knocking on people's doors, but they'll still be a part of ICE, and they want to put them in the airports, on the ports, so on and so forth. So
Well, they
I
want to
see this as part of a
privatize
big,
TSA. They
That's it.
want to
yeah,
privatize it.
That's it right
yeah,
there.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
That's
in
it.
Project 2025.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
And
yeah.
the same people that bought TikTok and CBS and Paramount and everything else, those will be the people that will have the company to
Yes.
Had a contract. Yep.
Yeah.
We know
TSA.
what this. It's a money grab.
Yeah.
It's a
Yes.
money grab.
Oh
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
all this is.
Yeah.
100%. But the sad part about it is just watching so many bodies of people who are just dedicated to the country and the Constitution being played with like what's happening in Iran and what they're doing
Yes.
in Venezuela. And my biggest fear, and I think a lot of other Americans' biggest fear, is that we don't want to see another 9/11 on our shores. But
Right.
like this administration, they would cause it, or just to stay in power, they would fake one
Mhm.
just to stay in
Mhm.
power, to provoke a longer war with a different country. Today it's Iran, but hey, you start one and then you say it's another country in the Middle East. And now we're just out there camped out in the Middle East for forever, for the next, 2 decades or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
You know, being, a part of the military, and this is for you and Rodney, and Lee. When you guys think about this, how do you talk to people who are thinking about enlisting? Like, what is that conversation like under an administration like this?
That's tough
Yeah.
because I used to tell folks all the time, you know, joining, at least doing one enlistment, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
um, is a great way for you to at least start plotting your future. That's usually a 4-year hold in which you're guaranteed 3 hots and a cot and a
Mhm.
damn
Mhm.
check. That's
Mhm.
a beautiful situation. You get 3 hots and a cot, a check, and you walk away with a skill.
Yeah.
Most of us have a skill that we can use in the civilian. Now, some of us don't, but most of us have a skill that we can use in the civilian world. That's hard to turn down. Those benefits are lovely. However,
Mhm.
under an administration like this, I would actually opt people away from it because I wouldn't want to put you unnecessarily in harm's way because somebody
Mhm.
caught a whim this morning.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I have a nephew who's contemplating going in the army. And I tell him, like, you have to know what you want. Don't go in there, expecting that you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. Like, have a goal set in mind and work towards that goal. So if it's, you want money for school, because military is great for that. Um, then go in,
It's
do
that
what you're
carrot.
supposed to do. Yeah. And get your school allocation and then come out and do what you need to do. But in this administration, I agree with Lee. It is tough. And I'm glad we're out and not still serving because I know one of my problems when I was in was always this right here, my mouth.
You
Um
think
so
38 hot?
yes. So yeah, I pray. I do. I pray for the service members still in uniform now because it is tough for them. A lot of them can't say and speak, what they think because it's extra ears out there. You know what I mean? Because they done already put the word out. If it's somebody against this administration, turn them in because not everybody agrees with what they're doing. But now you can't speak it. Before you had to be careful of what mindful of what you said. Now you don't know who you're talking to. Your buddy that you thought with your buddy is probably MAGA. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to be careful. Um, But I would say, yeah, they're really just throwing us to the wolves. And you can tell in the speech and the rhetoric when they get on there, they're always touting the military. Nobody in the world ever underestimates what our military is. They know that we're the greatest. The American public know that the military is going to always show up and show out. That's what we are instilled. That is what is instilled in us, and that's what we are trained to do. We're going to go out there, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it to the best that we can. So it's never a doubt of, are we the best and the brightest? We
Right.
are. But you don't have to continue to, let it be a subliminal message, if you will. That's how I think they're trying to make it. So when people speak against what they're doing, they try and tie it to that you're speaking against the military, but that's not necessarily what people are thinking. That's
Mm.
what they want you to think. That if you're not in support of what they're doing, then you're bad mouthing the military.
Right.
It's not that at all. Um, and we know that when we sign that line. America is very different from other countries. Other countries, regular civilians are ready to die for whatever their belief is. Americans, they don't have to worry about that because that's what the military is for. That's what we signed a contract for, to put our lives on the line for the American people. And that's why they're in a war where they don't know who the enemy is. That's why we have all these little cells in America, the little terrorists, because you don't know who they are. They're planted all over the place because they're fighting for idealism.
Mm.
And Americans are not fighting for that cause.
Nah.
No,
No,
they're not. We're not fighting for this whole America to be Christians and nah, that's not this is a melting pot. So, we're always going to have different religions. We're going to have different beliefs, and that's what we're entitled to. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion. So, that's why this war is so dangerous. It was dangerous when it was Iraq and Afghanistan fighting against terrorism because you ain't know who terror was.
So I think that my son had 11 years in when he got out, and I supported him getting out. Though initially I'd encourage him doing 20, and I would typically encourage most people, especially if they didn't have a way to join the service and do 20. Because once you did your 20 and you came out right out of high school or right out of college, you retired at such a young age, you could start a second career or start your business and have an income to fall back on so you don't have to cannibalize from your business, which is going to make it potentially less successful. So I've been a supporter uh, of us, and especially Black people, because you get the benefits, you get the training, you get the discipline, you get the camaraderie, building up this separate family. You get all of that. So I've even uh, voluntarily worked for the Army Recruiting Command in finding those candidates. I've been on boards for the Service Academy selection. I've done all of that. That's how much it means to me, and even for my own son to go in. But we have been the best military on the planet.
Hmm.
One of the problems though now is that under kakistocracy, the military starts to slack. In other
Hmm.
words, instead of having someone like the big unit, General Austin, as your sec def, right? You get some dude that is a drunkard, that barely made it through, and
Hmm.
then that that trickles down through the ranks because they bring in other people. They talk about meritocracy, and the reality of it is, they're the ones who don't meet the merit. We Not only do we as Black people and especially Black women have to meet the standard, we have to far exceed the standard. Where these kakistocracy kids, they don't even have to meet the standard. They just have to be white, maybe have a connection. And as that effect starts to trickle through the rest of the military, You don't have the best and the brightest anymore, especially in leadership. And then the subordinates who do a task because they believe in their leadership,
Mm.
they no longer believe in the leadership, which means, they probably didn't believe in the mission in the first place, but they did the mission because that's what we do. But now
Mm-hmm.
that starts to affect the psyche of the service member. And once,
Mm-hmm.
we can go and do all that they ask us to do plus more because we believe.
Mm-hmm.
Once that belief is
Right.
shattered, once you cannot believe that your superiors are not putting you unnecessarily in harm's way, that they're not tasking you, that they're giving you the training, all the things that you need to carry out the mission. Once those doubts start to set in, the morale starts to decline. Once the
Mm-hmm.
morale starts to decline, it doesn't make any difference what weaponry you have. It don't even make a difference what your mission is any longer. You have degraded the military. We've been the most trusted institution in this country and today, but that's going to diminish. And then we get into that Vietnam syndrome where even the American citizen who typically, well, when I was in the white states like Utah, if I was in civilian clothes, they couldn't see me, but if I walked in with my uniform on for lunch, all of a sudden, thank you for your service, they pull a chair out for me. But
Mm-hmm.
because the military had that type of respect. But
Mm-hmm.
when the military starts to break down, and it is breaking down because you start to have people dissenting. Well, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
this mission right here, or here's some.
Mm-hmm.
My son was in special forces, and his biggest concern was, Dad, if they task me to do something that's immoral, illegal, or unethical, I'm not going to do it. Well, if
Right.
I don't do it, I have to face the consequences from this bureaucracy that's
Mm-hmm.
even different from the civilian world. And
Mm-hmm.
so he made that decision. So I think they needed to increase troops now because they know it's, people are not going to be joining us. And here's the other thing: you have a person like me who's been sort of pro, especially black people joining, and now I don't think a single black person should join. I don't think a single woman should join. Unless your life is so hard in the civilian world, that's the only way that you can make it. I do just the opposite. Do not sign up. And so, sis, that was one of the questions that I had for you. Um, as a black person and as a female, and I think you may have answered it already. But do you think that black people and females should join the service today if they have other options?
If they have other options, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I think it all depends on. I would say your inner fight. So I'm a fighter. So initially, like boot camp wasn't hard for me because my mom was always yelling. I had parents that yelled at me in my face. So, I didn't think it was tough. So I would say, your intestinal fortitude. It all depends on how much of that fight you have and you're willing to continue to do it. My friends that are still serving now, um, I haven't heard, many complaints um, about, what they have to do versus, how it was. You always hear, back in the day, we did this, we did that. But I haven't heard, in the current state, um, any, any more additional complaints.
Mm.
So, and I would probably say, I think now it's not just, with Black females. I think it's just Black people, period. Because you
Mhm.
have males who they're trying to put the males out too, not allowing them to shave if they have, pseudo folliculitis. So I think it's just the Black culture, if you will, um, is going to sustain maybe with years ago what black females went through. Back black males didn't have to worry about it, whereas now if you're black, everybody is worrying about it. But I would say, it just all depends on, if you have that fight, if you're willing to kind of go up against it and not let it matter to you. My old self, I mean, if I were my youthful self and I had to make the decision knowing what I know now, I probably would not enlist. I would probably, or maybe I would do it different. Maybe I would go to college first and then probably try to go in as an officer, or not enlist at all. Maybe, go a different way.
Well, I don't want to keep you, but I wanted to have you.
I
Now,
appreciate it.
just
I was
let the
scared.
people.
I'm gonna tell you, I was
I
scared,
told
but
you.
this was
I told you it
fun.
was gonna be easy.
Yeah,
Now,
this
tell
was
the people
fun.
when the book coming out. Now, anyhow, I've been on her about writing a book for
Ah,
years. She gonna write
yeah.
this damn book.
I got a
So
ghostwriter for you. So just call, say the word. We make that happen.
He
we
gonna
gonna get
have to
this.
work on me some more. But every
We gonna
conversation
get this
we
book.
have, there is not a conversation that goes by where he doesn't mention that daggone book.
Yes, we gonna get this book out. So
Yeah,
look,
but
yo.
I appreciate it. Thank you for
So
allowing me the opportunity, especially amongst good company. Thank you guys for your
thank you,
questions and for your support.
thank
Um,
you, thank you, thank
Well,
you.
thank you for
yeah, I really appreciate it.
Love you,
thank you.
sis.
Genuinely, not like
Love you more.
because
All right, you guys take care. Have a great weekend.
all
All
right.
right, you
Bye.
bet. So these fuel prices, man. Has anybody else been to the filling station? Well, I'm sorry, gas station. Y'all young folks out here don't know how a filling station is. Anybody
Yeah,
else been to the gas station here lately?
the
Man,
police stole my car, but my Uber has been more expensive.
says the police. Oh,
Nah, yeah.
I filled up the damn rental car this morning. It was damn near $60 for like 12 gallons of gas. I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Those programs,
Damn
though,
it.
let me tell you how we do it is you have to join I don't know, a high V or some grocery stores have a gasoline
Okay.
subsidiary. You know what I'm talking about? So you got to
Hmm.
get in. You can't just go. You got to link your gas consumption to some other type of something you're doing, and they give you the 20 cent off a gallon or the 50 cent off a gallon. The smart way to do this is to link your gas with your grocery, I think it's pretty much, or link it with some other program where they give you discounts on it, like you do, Lee, where you fly for one thing and then they give you points for another, or you get the hotel when you link it to
I'm
something
with
that
you.
here there in Kansas City, it's a place called Hy-Vee. And you know who else do it? Sam Club do it.
Well,
Yeah, I
my
have Costco.
I don't think that we should. So here's my problem. With America, we always try to find the brick to prop up the couch. There's a problem that we got to prop up the couch. It wasn't this high a month ago. And when someone can say presto, shit's high, and then can come out and lie and say, oh, the war is over, flip billions of dollars on the stock market to find out, oh, the war's not over. Like this idea of constantly adjusting to watch these people steal is like it's crazy because
Ludicrous.
we know that if they did not attack Iran, this wouldn't have been the problem. And him running off the idea of lowering the prices and making everything extremely cheap. I mean, higher. Everyone should be mad, but I'll say it again: it's the level of rationalization that we do watching him do what he does. There's no need to rationalize it because it's a grift. It's an open theft, and we're the ones that's paying for it. And I just, my thing is, man, if you would have robbed me back in the day, we would have figured out the way to rob you and probably do something else worse to you. But in this country, people just because what pisses me off is it's so casual that we accept it as an American populace. We're just casually accepting it, and then we don't even try to adjust. Because one of the things that we should do, similar to COVID, maybe we should just drive less. Maybe we just stop putting money into his buddies' pockets, and we say we're gonna sit the fuck down. And you know what? Gas so high, y'all need to go back up and yeah, we can zoom in to work. We don't need to go to work.
Right, right.
Gas prices too goddamn high.
Or
To
are
be,
we buddy up to work? We have we
we, no,
drive
no,
together.
no, 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 we ain't gonna buddy up. We just gonna stay home because buddying up, somebody still got to pay for it. No, we gonna sit this one out because your AI ain't where you think it's supposed to be right now. They still need humans. If human beings do not start standing the f up, what's going to happen is the next interval, you're going to wipe yourself out, and then you're going to be like, okay, so where did I have them last? This is the last stand. And if we don't, going all the way up until this next coming election, between now and that election, if we don't figure out something, instead of just constantly trying to Jimmy rig it, you're going to keep on Jimmy rigging it. Listen, the car's just going to break down on you, and it's just not going to work. You got to fix it. And how are we going to fix it? Is just by abstaining. We need to stop putting money into it and let those people, his real bosses, let them get on his ass.
Just pretend like we Cuba. Just say, look, you doing that to Cuba, and we gonna pretend like we Cuba. We gonna turn our lights off. We gonna stop driving. We gonna turn the TV off. We gonna, leave, shut all the and go outside and play or whatever. I don't know what they doing in Cuba.
In the middle of March Madness.
Hey, this is what he said. We up here nigger rigging it, and in a minute we gonna be doing March Madness at the local uh playground. We're gonna have to do March Madness in the hood, because it's gonna be the only way you can afford. You can't keep driving to Kansas or whatever, and driving to whatever where the games are being played. So, right, a reconfiguring of our economy based on our refusal to be grifted in our access to natural resources. Totally reconfiguring how we get down so that we tell the natural resource utility holders how we are going to deal with their resources instead of them telling us how they are going to do it to us. Well, that we have tried before, Brother Thomas. We have tried. In fact, not only have we tried to get them to regulate price, we've been trying to get them to figure out how to give us what we need without destroying the planet as a whole. Neither of those initiatives have worked. And at this point, they saying if we want to clean up the planet as a whole, we need to pay more. They're not saying we're greedy. They're saying you are asking us to do something with you're asking us to clean up with the frackers, right? With the fracking. You're asking us to restabilize us, uh, return the stability to the ground after they have fracked it open and busted it open for the natural resources. We're asking for the airline industry, right, to do something pro atmospheric to where, because I guess they the one pumping all them chemicals into the air. We're asking the gasoline and fossil fuel industry to do something, and they're telling us, but it's gonna double, and we're going, and you're saying that's a grift, but I'm telling you that it may be necessary in order for us to get them to do some of the even just basic uh, like being able to have the resource available to everybody.
Right.
That's starting to cause.
So
Also
Rashi,
making
let
them
me ask you this
use it in
question.
the right way.
Rashi, let me ask you this question. If you were dealing with an abuser that was beating your ass, right? Do you think the best way to stop him from beating your ass is to give him more ass to beat?
No, maybe I'll just tell
No,
them beat my ass in the
no, no,
morning
no,
so
no, no,
I can.
no, no. I'm asking.
No,
Like,
beat my ass at night so
okay,
that I can sleep through it.
so now let's give
No,
him.
I'm not joking. I'm not being funny. But
Okay.
yeah, you give them less ass. You give them less opportunity to beat your ass.
And what I'm saying is that Americans have to learn how to not only abstain but also stop overutilizing and letting things go as normal. This is part of the issue that we're having. We don't want to cut back. and we have to cut back to show a lesson. I'm happy. I'm gonna go out here to the No Kings protest today, but we have to do more than just protest them at capitals. We have to really start stepping back and saying we're not going to support these corporations. And they may say, "Hey, these corporations have got to go." The corporations don't want to go anywhere because the one thing about grifters and thieves, they're not looking to see one person steal more than the other side. At some point, the community has to, I mean, not the community, the people have to stand up and stop pouring so much into it because he'll be out of here in 2 years, God willing. But look at how much wealth him and his family is going to abstract from the entire country. Yeah, people have to stop booking flights. People have to start just saying like, listen, until you stop doing what you're doing, we just gonna put the country at a standstill. And whatever you're lying about, whatever's coming out your lying ass lips, we don't care. That's just
If
it.
you talking, he lying.
That's all people have to say. Like, yo, dude, because here's the thing: we keep trying to rationalize, negotiate everything with this group. There's nothing to rationalize with the irrational. They're not going to understand you. They don't care to. Like, he does not care. Like, even the whole thing with the TSA. Oh, I'm going to sign an executive order to have them paid. When, bruh, the senators already told us you're the problem. All you had to do is sign off on the deal. TSA would have got paid. ICE wouldn't have got paid. The border chiefs or the border officers wouldn't have got paid, but TSA would have been paid. And the Republicans had a way to fund all those things without the Democrats voting on anything. But you said no. The problem is, why are you saying no? And that's the thing for his supporters and all these people that try to rationalize with this guy. Notice how he always sets the fire, but then he wants credit for putting the fire out that he starts. He's the one starting these fires.
Why do you think he didn't take Elon's money? Because Elon offered to pay the TSA agents. He said no.
I don't think that they want to take the money because honestly, bro, I think they want to break the American people. I just don't like. I look at it like it's one of those things where Elon may not be in on his Vladimir Putin business. Elon is just Elon. Elon don't know who he really working for, and that's part of it. This guy, as we said last week, he got two masters. He has the Israelis and he has the Russians, and he's doing the bidding of both. And it's playing out bad for Americans because sooner or later we're going to see Americans suffering as bad as Russians were suffering under the old Soviet Union if we keep this shit up.
Okay. So the vote came to the Senate. Senate passed the measure to fund DHS. It goes to the House, and the House strikes it down. The Republicans specifically struck it down. Now, how that makes sense? You screaming, yelling that this is a Democratic shutdown. The Democrats did it. Democrats did it. Democrats did it. You finally get the measure that you said you wanted to go forward, and then you turn around and you strike it down before it even got to the president's desk. How that makes sense? Was the executive order the cover that Mike Johnson needed to say no? I agree with you, Rodney. It was the cover that Mike Johnson needed to say no because they're trying to stick it to us because they want that ICE funded. My question is, what's really in that bill? What's really in that bill that they want to move forward? And I can almost guarantee you it's the Save America piece that's in there somewhere. It's hidden in there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't get why these folks are so stuck. That's a dude. That's a lie. I get it. I understand. It's when things are not rigged that they have problems. It's when things are not leaned their way that they have problems. So whenever things are pretty much fair and free, they lose. They lose. Special election happened down in Florida. Democrats flipped the seat that included Mar-a-Lago. How did that happen? Another election down in Florida. Democrats flipped another seat. How did that happen? It's you're right, brother Marlon. I said the same thing. It's all about the Save America Act. It's that and the Epstein files. Like you said, Brother Thomas, you got two masters. Why you got two masters? Because Israelis, I'm sorry, they have the unredacted Epstein files and tapes. They got the raw data. The Russians got their smidges and pieces that they paid for from somebody along the way.
Hmm.
That's why you got two masters, bro. Not only do the Russians control your money interests, they also control you from information they got because they bought from somebody that was leaking the Israeli intel to you. This ain't hard. This ain't hard to piece together. It ain't hard to piece together at all. You get this dude to talking about the war in Iran, he goes from we won, it's over to they have nothing. They're powerless. They can't push back against us. If we wanted to, we could just obliterate them. What?
Yeah,
Well, foolish of you to speak like that.
yeah.
They still have the Strait of Hormuz tied up.
Hmm.
Folk are trying to get through this thing in order for everybody to benefit,
Hmm.
and you running your yapper reckless. You straight reckless. Hell, dog. If we was in an interrogation room, you had the McDonald's lunch in front of you because you just snitching. You just reckless.
Hmm.
I
But
don't
you know,
even
brother,
care to understand this point.
but you know,
Go ahead,
brother,
Tom.
the sad part about this is that it's right here for us all to see, right? And the clown Mike Johnson. I hope whatever happens, they build a big enough glass cell for him so that we could see him in prison because he's the worst. If we want to talk about obstruction of progress for American people, more than Donald Trump, he's the face because Donald Trump is Donald Trump. This guy, he is supposed to be a part of another governance body, and he's constantly looking over at the executive branch to what should I do next. Well, if you got to constantly do that, then you shouldn't be in charge of the Congress. You should not be in charge of the Congress. And the thing that we have not brought up, which I would love to get y'all input on, is how do you think the Democrats are going to walk all of this back? I see people running away from APAC now, but you know, policy wise, do any of you guys got faith that the Dems, if they do get back in power, hopefully, God willing, they get back in power in November? Do we have faith that they're going to go as far as they need to go to hold them accountable? You're mute, Lee. You put yourself on mute, bro.
I said no, I don't, because they've shown one too many times that they don't have the cojones to do such. They too often they want to be the appeasers, and this ain't time to be appeasing. Somebody's need to go to jail. Period. There needs to be a clear message that this is unacceptable in America. This is unconstitutional. You may have been able to play some of the strings of the Supreme Court, and we're gonna take a look at them motherfuckers too. But for now, your ass going to jail, and we'll figure the rest of it out later. Because we coming for them too. We need to do some reform there, have some real teeth to an oversight committee or an inspector general's office. Somebody needs to have some degree of influence and knock them upside the head power toward the Supreme Court too, because this should never have happened. This should never happen. This is bastardization of everything. That's not true. Most things that a lot of people think of America. They have definitely stepped out on a limb to try to form this nation in their image and their image alone. Sis said earlier, she said this is a melting pot. They don't want it to be a melting pot. They want it to be no homogeneous. And they want it to be whiter than white can be.
Hmm.
That's it. That's all they want.
I agree.
And if you ain't it and you're not willing to accept it as your Lord and Savior, then you gotta go. So any type of threat to whiteness in America is a threat to America as they see it. And that simply is not the case.
I'm glad we're talking
Folks,
about threatening white America because I think that could segue us into what I wanted to discuss, and that's your boy Afro Man, right? We discussing what happens when whatever you doing, and it might not even be actively something against white people, but whatever you doing gains you either notoriety or gains you financial power. In this instance, it would be the fact that Afro Man, or Mr. Foreman, as he's known in the streets, had relocated to a fairly rural area. And so for that area, with his, proceeds from, when I got high and his other works, he was quite possibly one of the most affluent individuals in his county. And so because of that, he had access to white women. In fact, almost exclusively, he had access to white women. And he maneuvered around and dated and intermingled with those white women, so to where they were able to attempt to substantiate a claim that he was abusing, kidnapping, and trafficking kind of these white women, right? So, and a confidential informant went to the police and said that he had white bitches in the basement, that he had them in there, he was shuffling through them, and he was getting them to stay. Now here's the claim: is he's getting them to stay in the basement because he's keeping them high as a Georgia pine, right? So they started distributing, trafficking, kidnapping the case, right? Because he was a black dude. This is my opinion now. Black man who's the most affluent in the county, burning through white women left and right, and just without any true regard for small town politics, because he let it be known he got the weed. But I got the weed is like one of the tracks of his album. I got the weed. So you understand. So coming to him, it's like trying to arrest Snoop Dogg. Tomorrow, you got some weed on? Hell, I'm Snoop Dogg. I got the weed on me. You know what I'm saying? To stop playing with me. I got it's literally a part of my character, like my street character, right? So they went in, they kicked out, they created all that, and I always thought it was a little sus, Tom Barry, that he wasn't at home, but I think he has an inform. He got his own confidential informant that let him know not to be in that house when they came through. However, he's smart enough, which is kind of creepy though, to have his home surveilled. He has his home under surveillance. So when the police and them, when the sheriffs and them came in, he was able to amass a considerable amount of footage before they cut all his communication lines in there. They cut his cam wires and stuff. Before they did that, though, he was able to save to the cloud a lot of footage of them going through his house, looking in his. Cause now listen now, they said they was looking for enough drugs to be trafficked, right? They were looking for hoes in basements. They were looking for white women being held under duress. They were looking for these items in his suit coat pockets. And I ain't never seen a white woman pop out of a suit coat pocket before in my life. I just found a dime sack or something, or maybe a couple of extra $100, but never no whole white lady. And so they was, just pretty much invading every nook and cranny they could. They seized a considerable portion of his monies, um, which I thought also was weird because he had it in cash in his home. I thought, I mean, who's still keeping that shit under the mattress? I didn't. That was weird to me. But if you don't want to pay interest, I don't know if you don't want to declare why you have more than $9,999 because that's the limit, right? By the time you put that extra $1 in, you have to do some tax related shit he might not want to have done. Okay, so they took the money, they counted it, they took it. I mean, he ran them through. They counted it out wrong. They didn't even follow the procedure correctly in order to seize anything out of the man's house. And then the icing, the lemon icing on the pound cake was that some of the footage he got was of officers staring at coveting his items all the way down the cake, coveting his money, coveting his cars that he had in the garage, coveting, you understand, his lifestyle that he's been able to amass there in that region because of the money because of the money he created for himself doing whatever that is. His rap is real. What they call it when it's bargain basement? It's worse than a hippity hoppity hip to the hoppity don't stop. It's worse than that. But so now, here's the kicker though, because I was like, what is the lawsuit about if you don't find any of the stuff that is on the warrant, why is there still a suit against the man? Well, listeners, they got mad because Afro Man took the video footage that he got from his surveillance cameras and created a hit squad worth of, he went, Brother Barry, individual by individual, for everybody who came out in his came and kicked in his shit, he went and made a song for every single officer damn near that kicked in his shit. They got their own video. And so it had such a negative uh flashback for the officers because when they started going out on calls and they were starting to get called the names that Man had created for him on his video, like Lickum Lisa and
Oh, yeah, Lisa.
and Sheriff Pound Cake and Pound Cake Junior. So when he got through running them through, they said they was defamed. He said he defamed them, and they can't work in that town no more because every time they show up for a domestic abuse, they get your fat pound cake ass off of my porch, and they talking to the sheriff. Anyway, so now this is the funniest shit in the world though. Okay, look, because I'm into law a little bit, right? So when you do a defamation case, you have to say either how it's what they said was wrong. You have to refute them and say that what it was libel or slander, or you have to show like the consequences of what they said in your everyday life. That's the only way to win a defamation suit, right? So his defamation was with your bald headed ass. You called him a bald headed dipshit. So the lawyer had to ask him, so sir, based on what you know about your own hairline, are you bald headed? And, and then he said, and so well now, sir, well, are you a dipshit? And so, but here's the problem. You don't mind saying, okay, I'm bald, because shit, he was bald. He wasn't no hair up there. But in order to win a lawsuit, how fucking maniacal is it to have to admit that you are also a dipshit? Yes, I am a dipshit, and what he said has affected me. Him spreading the news that I am a dipshit has negatively affected my. I sat through that whole shit giggling because even with his outfit, even if you didn't look at nothing but Afro Man's outfit, you was gonna be giggling. But the actual workings of law and how he was able to uh, win his case against the American police system, it was quite impressive. Even though I don't personally care much for Afro Man, the artist, like I said, I find his rap to be like he made it in his grandma's basement. But who am I? But he won, so that's what I was. But he's also, by the way, MAGA. Afro Man is MAGA.
Okay. Rodney, I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to the ending of the gathering at WSO before we got out of here?
Last night was the official ending of a 5 year stint at Westside Oasis WSO. Westside Oasis opened 5 years ago, and almost immediately after the gathering, started hosting the activity there. And last night represented was our official last gathering at WSO. Big shout out to Brother Barry for waiting around for a long time to come and address the people at the gathering and sharing the watch. You know, it's like my team, my family, my other family was there. Sister Rashi was in the house representing well and speaking up. So that thank you, Sister Rashi, for doing that. Sister Rashi also won a book too. But you know, it was a good run. It showed Black unity and it showed the power of Black unity because I did not know that we were the longest standing organization that continuously supported that business, supporting Black business. We also brought other groups of people, white people, to the hood, supporting Black business and tipping well.
Mm.
So it's the end of that era, but it was almost unanimous that the gathering should continue. So we did find another location for the next 2 weeks anyway that we can continue to gather.
Nice, 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 nice. Cool, cool. Thomas, any updates on the watch app?
I do want to give an update on the watch, but I know we only are short on time, so I just want to say this because I think it's more important. I think that Black people in this country should be talking about the UN's finding on reparations. As much as we talk about everything else, that should be our conversation. The fact that we don't talk about it, the fact that we find ourselves distracted with everything else under the sun, tells you that we're not the people whose shoulders we stand on. We are just not. We need to get back to it because that should be the thing that we're talking about. When the rest of the world is saying that you are owed something, see, we get on each other about you owe me money, you owe me child support, you owe me respect, you owe me this, you owe me that. But here's the whole world minus three countries. Argentina, do we really count them? Israel, and then the US, the only three that's abstaining. But the rest of the world is saying that you
No,
are
not abstaining, voted
No,
no.
no, yeah.
voting,
They
voting,
voted no.
voting no. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because the European Union pretty much as a block vote abstained.
But I believe that that is a conversation that should be had, and we have to stop dropping the ball. And I want to bring this up because this vote took place in 2001 on September 10th. 9/11 happened the next day
The
after.
next day.
And the world said the problem in the world, I want to say this again, the day before, they stated the biggest issues in the world was white supremacy and Zionism. Well, guess what? Fast forward 25 years later, what's the problem in Iran? What's the issue? We have a Zionist regime inside of Israel, and we have a racist regime inside of America. So guess what, world? You have not changed your problems in 25 years, and something tells me that there's going to be another event that's going to make us forget about this vote that we are owed reparations because it will be Zionism and racism again, stoking the fires to see a terroristic event, devastation take place on American soil. So I believe that, you know, I could talk about the app and I love the app and there's some things that are following, but I'll be real with you. I just think the reparations piece is just such a larger piece.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, family, we did run a little bit over, but it was worth it. Thank you all for watching us live. Thanks to all who watch us later. Please, 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 as we always say about this time, be safe out there. Show love to those who love you. You all be good. Until next week.
Oh, Lee jumped off.
Apparently, just like that.
He said he meant that shit. He said peace and out. Peace out is what he should have said.
God.
uh, Brother
Uh,
Barry, I'm so I think you're gonna be next on the list now. I